Good. So tonight we're studying the very first constellation of the astrology, the very first month of the astrology, which is the month of Nisan, the sign of Aries. In Hebrew calendar, the calendar that Abraham Avinu created 4,500 years ago, he tells us that the first month is the month of Nisan, is the sign is Aries. Who is an Aries tonight?
Yeah, many of them.
Who knows an Aries? Good.
Who's married to Aries?
Who's married to an Aries?
That's right.
Okay.
Proud of it.
My hope is that by the end of tonight's class, my hope and my wish is that by the end of tonight's class, those who are Aries, they will get to know themselves much better, and they can be a better Aries after the class than before the class. My hope is that you take this class proactively and you understand about your DNA force, your consciousness, why you were born in this month. And I need to tell you that you chose to be born in this month. It has to do with your correction. It has to do with your tikkun. So the reason you were born in that month, because you wanted to. Your soul asked from the light force of God that I want to be born as an Aries. And tonight you're going to get to know yourself better. And my hope is that at the end of tonight's class, you'll be a better Aries, someone who's in control of his life. And for those who are not Aries, and you're in their class, and are listening online, my hope is to learn not to judge an Aries, but learn how to deal with an Aries, to have a better relationship with Aries, to have understanding for Aries. And know that if you have an Aries in your life, which we all do, it's either in your family, it's in your friends, or it's your class, it's in your community, we deal with Arieses. That you learn, again, not to judge an Aries. I don't want you to go home tonight and tell your friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, cousin, you're an Aries? Ah, no. You go home and you learn how to deal with an Aries. You have a better relationship with Aries. Understands where that energy is coming from. We learn astrology, we learn Kabbalistic astrology because we want to know why are we doing in this world. What is my responsibility? What is my tikkun? What is my correction? Why do I need to know astrology? It's because I want to have a better life. I want to understand what am I here for. So Aries. I explained this last week too, but I'm going to repeat it. It says in the Torah, the very first commandment, the very, very first precept that God tells the Israelite is what? Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh means the beginning of the month. When we were in Egypt, some 3,500 years ago, and we were about to leave Egypt with the help of Moshe Rabbeinu. It sounds like a story, it's not a story, it's about our today's life. The very first thing that God tells the Israelite, before the Ten Commandments, before keeping Shabbat, before anything that He tells us to sanctify the first day of each month. To sanctify it, to make it Kodesh, to make it holy, to have control over it. And it says, do this for yourself, and the very first month that you're going to sanctify, to control, to make it holy, is the very first month of the year, which is Nisan, the sign of Aries. Why? Why Nisan is the first month of the Hebrew calendar? Why a Scorpio couldn't be the first month of the calendar? You know, poor Scorpio has nothing. You know, it's funny. I'm going to go after every sign. the big difference between conventional astrology and Kabbalistic astrology is if you go to a conventional astrology class or you read a book, you're going to like yourself so much. It boosts your ego. You read about Aries, you feel good, you think you're a big shot. They don't tell you all the corrections of each sign because they want to sell the book. And before I learned Kabbalistic astrology, I used to go to every bookstore. I loved astrology. I would pick astrology book, and I would only go to Scorpio because I only loved myself. I looked at the Scorpio and read about how wonderful the Scorpio is, and my ego would boost up, and I would walk out like the best sign in the world. And then I start learning Kabbalistic astrology, and I go, oh my God, is that who I am? So that's the difference between Kabbalistic astrology and conventional astrology. So we want to know why. In Kabbalah, we ask questions. We want to know the reason. We want to know why things happen the way they happen. We want to know why Nisan, why Aries is the first sign. Why Taurus couldn't be the first sign. Why Scorpio couldn't be the first sign. And we know that we have 7 planets, and we talked about this last time. We have 7 planets in our solar system, and each planet controls 2 signs except Moon and the Sun. Moon controls what? Cancer. And Sun controls what sign? Leo. Bravo! Remember something. And we have 5 more planets that each planet controls 2 months. The planet Mars, the most famous, the most popular planet in our galaxy, Mars controls Aries and controls Scorpio. But planet Mars considered to be a red planet. It considered to be as the planet of war, planet of disagreement, planet of conflict.
Alicia, we're not that bad, I swear.
I know. Don't tell me about it, I know. But why planet Mars was chosen by the life force of God to have control over Mars, to control over Nisan, and why this planet is red? Each planet has a color of its own. Why this planet is red? We know it's not by accident. It was chosen to be red. Why is it red?
Fire.
What does red represent?
Fire.
Fire. Represents attention. Represents if you have 4 cars in a parking lot, and one of them is red, you'll notice the red car first. It draws attention. It draws power to itself. It attracts. But then we have to understand in Kabbalah that red represents the Sephirah of Gevurah, represents Isaac. It says when Isaac was born, his face was red. Torah is not telling us story. The fact that Isaac's face was red, that represents Gevurah. Gevurah means power, strength, judgment. Means desire to receive. They call it Ratzon Bekabel, which means desire to receive. Red draws attention. Red draws power to itself. And we see that Mars controls both Scorpio and Aries. But we know Scorpio is a water sign. We learn that Aries is a fire sign. So how could Mars represent 2 different signs? What's the difference? And then I'm going to raise a few questions, and then we're going to get into the characteristic of Aries. And then we know that all the months of the year, they all have some form of holidays in them, some form of Mu'adim. In Nisan, in Aries, we have Passover. The only month where there is no Mu'ad, you know which month it is? Poor Scorpio. Nothing was given to us. So don't feel bad, Aries says. You got Passover. Passover, huh? No. You know what happens in Scorpio? The flood of Noah. We'll get to Scorpio. But let's talk about, let's wait. I'll give you time. I'll give time for questions. So, Passover happens when? In the 14th day of the month of Nisan. Now, I need to explain something to you. Every month, every Hebrew calendar month has 28 days. It moves by the rotation of the moon. So it's 28 days. And each sign, the energy of that sign, starts from the first day of the moon, and then it goes higher, 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 and it reaches its maximum amount of that force of that month on the 14th of that day. So if you're an Aries and you were born on the first day, versus you were born on the 14 days, that means you have more of Aries on the 14th day of the month of Nisan. And if you are born after the 14th, that means your energy, it goes down, it decreases until the end of the month. So the power of Passover manifested itself when? On the maximum amount of the energy that existed in the month of Nisan in the sign of Aries. What is Passover is all about? I'm sorry? Redemption. Redemption of what?
It's all about the letting go of the ego. It's the
letting go.
Mentality. It's the galut. The galut in our mind, not the physical.
In the galut in our mind, we break through from our ego. We break through from our bondage. When Torah talks about bondage of Misraim, I explained this before. Misraim, Torah is not referring to the country of Egypt. This poor country of Egypt is not what we're talking about. Misraim means somewhere that is close, that is tight. Misraim means darkness. Misraim means challenges. Misraim means sadness. Misraim means where I get stuck in a position I don't know what to do. Misraim is when I don't see the future. Misraim is when I feel small. Misraim is when I'm stuck into a decision and I cannot make a decision. Misraim is when I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Misraim means doubt. Misraim means not having confidence. Misraim means all the negative forces. So when God says, I brought you out of Misraim, that means what?
From darkness.
I brought you out of darkness. I brought you out of your misery. I helped you overcome your challenges. I showed you the light. So Passover means as a breakthrough, passing over what? Your darkness. Where is our darkness?
In our ego.
It's our ego, it's our consciousness. Remember this, the only enemy that you have, the only competition that you have in this world is your mind, is your consciousness. If your consciousness is happy, you're happy. You could be sitting in this room and you're enjoying it. What caused you to enjoy this class? Your perception, your consciousness. Or you could be miserable, God forbid. What makes that feeling in you? Your consciousness. Your consciousness makes your reality. So when it says that Passover, you have a breakthrough of Mitzrayim, that means you have an energy to overcome your ego, you overcome your darkness, you overcome the challenges that, God forbid, we put on ourselves. Okay? Another thing. You know, each sign has corresponded to one part of our body. You know what Aries suffer most in their physical body? Head. Aries, they usually get more headache than any other signs. If they have a problem, it comes from their consciousness, their mind, their head. If you look at the Aries' face, they usually have a scar on their forehead, on their face. Why? Why? You do, right?
No, she has
You do
Stop
too.
it. This one's for my brother, though.
Yeah? Right.
Your Aries brother.
Why? Because Aries goes to the wall. They go with head to the wall. They Somehow they don't see the branches that are in front of them. Somehow they don't see the door that is in front of them. Somehow they go with their head to something. And they always, usually, most of the time, they have a scar on their face. Why? Why? You know, what's the problem with the Scorpio? Stomach. Stomach. We have a problem. We get stomach ache. We have too much acids. If you're a Capricorn, you usually have problem with your back, with your legs. And we understand all this, and we understand why. Why Aries has difficulties with their head. And another thing I need to explain before we go to the good part of the class of astrology, to the fun part, is each sign, we said, has an exterior energy and an interior energy. The external energy of Aries is what? Fire. The external is fire. And that's why they call them the fire sign, because that's what they represent. Their outer energy, their exterior energy is fire. But their inner energy is what? Water. You remember why? And I teach you guys this last week. We said at every season that there are 3 months. The first month of each season resides on the right column. And right column positive is water. So Aries, the inner energy of the Aries is water. The inner energy of Taurus is what? Left column, which is fire. Gemini, the 3rd month of the spring, they have the inner energy is central column, which is air. So the inner energy, I'm repeating this again, it's either water, fire, or air. So if you want to know how do you feel inside of you, you have to look which month of the season you are born with. So their inner energy is water. The outer energy is fire. What does it tell us? What does it mean? How could I have water inside? And what does water represent? Emotion, kindness, giving.
So it balances you out, probably, right?
Hopefully. Hopefully. Okay. Let's go to the fun part. I'll give time for the question.
I just want to know, is it March and April? What month are we talking about?
The month of, one thing, good question actually. The Kabbalistic astrology governs the Hebrew month. This is how the instruction was built by. So, one thing you need to do is check with the Hebrew calendar to make sure that which sign you are. Because on the conventional calendar, sometimes it starts from the 20th of the March, and sometimes later or sooner. It depends of the year. So it's usually the month of March, or in Farsi is
April.
March and April. March 21st to April, but it still changes. In Farsi, it's Farvardin.
Yes.
Farsi. But still, even that changes a little bit. So I highly recommend that if you're not sure, go to Hebrew calendar converter and put in your date of birth, and it tells you exactly what month of Hebrew you were born, so you know exactly what your sign is. Okay, now the fun part starts. I'm going to give a brief explanation of the positive aspects of Aries. So love me first, and then we're going to go after their correction. Don't hate me later, please. The most important, the most clear sign of those who were born in this month is what? Power. They're very powerful. Actually, they're the most powerful sign of the zodiac. Good, huh?
Scorpio and Aries? More than Leo?
More than Leo, more than Scorpio. Aries is the most powerful sign, the most powerful month of the Hebrew calendar. They're the strongest, emotionally, physically, mentally. They're very outgoing. Aries loves to go out. Aries needs to go out. Aries needs space. You cannot limit an Aries. They're very argumental.
You know what?
They're very argumental. They are very, very, very argumental. They argue about anything. You sit down and you talk with an Aries, they don't talk to you, they argue with you. They argue with you. You sit down with Aries and you talk about a movie, they argue about that movie. You talk about sport, they argue with the sport. You ask them for an opinion. If you don't listen to their opinion, if you start opening an argument with them, good luck, you don't win. Aries argues to win.
There are probably a lot of lawyers in the Aries, right?
Leaders. I'll give time for questions, believe me, I will. You know, we said that the Aries is ruled by the planet of Mars. Planet of Mars was what? The planet of war. Aries goes to war on everything. Aries needs to win every argument. Aries argue for the sake of winning. They need to win. They argue to win. You know, each sign has a sentence. Like Cancer says, I feel. Gemini says, I understand. You know what Aries says? I am. And I'm good. And I'm right. And you better listen to me. You better don't argue with me, because if you argue with me, you lose. They love to talk. They love to express their opinion. When Aries talks, it's all about me. They know everything. They have the best ideas. They have the most amazing opinions. And
For real or in their opinion?
they have opinion about everything. They know the best thing for you. And what's so amazing is that if they start arguing with you about something, and if you don't get it, if you don't start understanding it, they get mad of, how come you don't understand this? This is so clear. Why are you arguing with me? This is, of course, this is what it is.
It's common sense.
That's how strong an Aries is. That's how strong their opinion is. And they're very they have a very, very complicated way of thinking. Very complicated. And they're very judgmental about it too. They don't understand why people don't listen to them. They don't understand why people don't get their opinion. It's clear. It's obvious. You know, if people are not following their direction, their opinion, they're not, something wrong. How could they be like this? Why people behave differently? That's the way it should be. That's life as should be. That's how you should run your life. That's how you should do your things. This is how you do business. This is how you do study. This is how you run your life. This is how you run your marriage life. This is how you, I tell you, this is how it is. And they're very strong about it, and they're very serious about it. They're very busy mentally. They're constantly thinking about something. They're very, very involved in their mental consciousness. Let me give you an advice when you talk to an Aries. You want to have a good relationship with Aries? Don't ignore them. Do not ignore an Aries. Acknowledge an Aries. Pay attention to an Aries.
You're going to build their ego.
We'll get there why. No. Pay attention to an Aries. If you want to have a good relationship with Aries, if you want an Aries on your side, you pay attention to them. You give them respect, and you don't ignore them. They are great warriors. They are great commanders. They are great leaders of armies, manufacturers, societies. They are leaders. They are born to lead. They need to lead. An Aries cannot take order from you. An Aries cannot have a boss who tells them what to do or what not to do. Aries needs to order. Aries gives order. Aries needs to command. They are pioneers. They are the one with great ideas. They are the one with the brand new way of thinking, way of doing things. They know everything. They're pioneers. They truly are. And they have all these breakthrough ideas. They have the most amazing ideas. They have breakthrough ideas. And they go through changes a lot. They love changes. They need changes. You know something about Aries is very interesting. They don't sleep enough. They don't sleep too much. Aries doesn't need too much sleep. Aries likes to get up early, start doing things, you know, make the best out of their time. An Aries that sleeps a lot is an unhappy Aries. An Aries who likes to sleep a lot is an unhappy Aries.
Amen.
They love to be busy with the world. They love to be busy with challenges. They love to go to war. They love to conquer. They love to capture. They love to create. They love to be the leader. Don't give an Aries instruction. Do not give an Aries instruction. If you want to have a good relationship with Aries, ask them to help you. If you ask an Aries to help you, they will be your best friend. They love to help. They love to help individually. They love to help the world. They love to help the society. They are such givers. They are such givers. They have the best heart. Where does it coming from? Where is this giving, sharing coming from?
Water, the inside.
The water that is inside of me. The water that is inside of me. So if you get close to an Aries, and if you don't play your card right, you deal with the what? The fire that is around them. But if you know how to connect to their heart, to connect to where they are good, which is the water that is inside, you get the best out of an Aries. Always ask an Aries for help. Did you guys see the movie My Big Fat
Greek
Wedding?
Yeah.
You remember the father?
Oh,
Yeah.
They always had to say something that he thinks that he was his idea.
The Aries.
Yeah, that's an Aries.
Did you watch the second one?
No, I heard it's not good.
Okay.
No,
It's okay.
So again, these are very, very important for those who are not Aries and they have an Aries in their life. Pay attention to an Aries. Don't argue with an Aries and ask for help. You need something, ask them. They will provide for you. They will take care of you. But there is an F to it, though. There is an F to it. What is it for me? Aries gives. Aries shares. Aries protects. But there is a condition. Recognize it. Know that I helped you. I'm your best friend. I gave you the best advice. You better understand it. You better know it. You better cherish it. You better tell the whole world how good I am. Look what I did for these people. Look what I've done for the community. I'm the one who did this. They do. They give. They support. They protect. But it comes with acknowledgement, recognition. They want that recognition. They want that acknowledgement. They usually fight for an idea. They die for justice. They love justice. They cannot understand people who pushes people. They cannot handle people who bullies. They always take the side of the underdog. Always take a side of the underdog. They feel for the weakness. They feel for the people who needs help and attention, and they don't get it. They love justice. You know, Aries goes straight to the point. They don't go around, they don't go corner, they tell you what it is. You like it or you don't like it. They don't have tact. They go straight to the point. They cut right through, they tell you exactly what you need to do, what you did wrong, right there. No mercy. Game of Thrones. That's Aries. And they're willing to break the walls to do that. They're willing to break your ego. They may even destroy you if you don't listen to them. They may step over people to accomplish the ideas that they want. They don't listen to suggestion. They do not listen to suggestion. And don't disturb their purpose. Are you guys still okay? Yeah? If you don't like it, wait until we get to Scorpio. They're very impulsive. Very, very impulsive. They have this childish, impulsive behavior. You know, they may go to a restaurant and they like the waiter who is from a poor family. You know, he may not be doing a great job, but they feel for him, so they give him huge amount of the, tip, way more than the guy deserves. They overspend for some things that they impulsively feel that they need to do. They're very impulsive. They have this childish desire to fulfill things, and usually, if they want something, they take. They want, they take. They want, they say, they take. They walk over things, with their head they go straight until they get it. They can burn people with their tongue. They can burn people with their behavior. And they have no tolerance, absolutely no tolerance. They believe in their purpose very strongly. And one thing that it really, it's important to understand for Aries is they don't learn from their mistake. They make the same mistake over and over again. Why? Why do they make a mistake over and over again? They love competition, but it's a competition that is based on individual, one-on-one. Aries loves tennis. It's a one-on-one. They don't necessarily like to play basketball or football because that's a teamwork. If there's something one-on-one, bring it on. They love it. It stimulates them. And maybe the most important thing that they need to understand, the Aries need to understand, the people who are around Aries is, they need to be loved. Aries needs to be loved. Everything that they do in their life, everything that they strive in their life, is to get to the point that the people would love them, people would respect them, people would think highly of them. And it's funny, sometimes they don't tell the truth. Sometimes they say lie. But they're not liars from the point of view of being a negative person who lies. When a Aries lies, why does he lie? Why he doesn't tell you the truth? It's not because he's an evil person or she's an evil person. No. When an Aries tells a lie, Why?
Because they don't want you to not like them.
Because they don't want you to hate them. They don't want you to think small of them. They want you to love them. They lie to protect their image. They don't mean bad. They only say it because they want to have the right image, a positive image. They don't want to be lonely. They want to have people around them. They want to be looked upon. It's important. Their image is very important to an Aries. They have ability to go forward in everything. They always strive for better life, better position, good house, good family. They're not lazy at all. They're hardworking. They work all the time. They always strive to be the best they can be. They want something new always. They love challenges. And I want to share something with you which is very, very important to understand astrology. We have 12 signs of zodiac, and each sign has ego. Each sign has ego. But this ego, in some signs, is very, very clear. You can easily see it. In some signs, it's hidden. We think ego is someone who walks in and his head is up, and, we think, oh, this guy has a lot of ego. But someone who's very shy has a lot of ego too. Why somebody's shy? What causes a person who's shy being shy? The ego. The ego. Sometimes who is overconfidence might be ego. Someone who doesn't have any confidence is ego too. Someone who thinks I can do everything could be the ego. Someone who thinks I'm too small, that's ego too. And we understand that. When we go through the science, we go through the details of understanding how the ego plays its role. Ego is very, very sneaky. Ego is a very powerful part of our consciousness. Now, when it comes to Aries, they have the most obvious ego. Aries, they call it, they have a childish ego. It's just, they just have ego for no reason. They have ego not necessarily because they're very good, they have ego, no. A chef has a good ego because he's a great chef. Or a painter, if he's a great painter, he may have ego because of his painting. Aries has ego no matter what. It doesn't matter. Aries has ego. Once again, each sign has his own ego. But the ego of an Aries is so transparent, it's obvious. You see it. 2 signs, they have their ego written on their forehead. Aries and Leo. They walk in, you can tell. They're either Aries or they're Leo. The way they walk. The way they talk. It's obvious. But that doesn't mean the rest of the sign don't have ego. I mean, if there's any Pisces here, think, oh, I don't have any ego, we'll get to you. Now, we know that each sign has a shape or a symbol, right? Yeah. What is the symbol of Aries? A ram. Why a ram? The Scorpio has a scorpion, for God's sake, but why ram? Why ram?
Head first.
But is that all about ram?
They're strong.
Strong.
Okay, is that all? Shit.
Put their head
Lion is strong. Elephant is strong. Why not an elephant?
Just like what you said in the beginning, they put their head down and just run.
Yes,
Like a bull.
but not. Why not a bull? Why Taurus is a bull, and Aries is a ram? What is so special about ram?
Didn't we used to sacrifice them?
And we sacrifice the ram, right? Who was the god of Egyptian? The ram. This Egyptian, this culture of 3,500 years ago, they had amazing consciousness. The pyramid, they still can't figure out how they built the pyramid. They were very, very advanced in consciousness. Very, very advanced in their head. How could they choose a ram as God? What does ram has that makes it a sign of all signs? You know, this naive looking animal has a DNA of selfishness, ultimate selfishness. The most amazing, the most condensed energy of selfishness is injected to a ram. Can you believe that? You know, when God wanted to manifest different form of the consciousness into the world, by using physical being, he brought different consciousness to the world. You know, when God wanted to bring the concept of saving, he had to bring it to the physical world, right? What did he use to bring the consciousness of saving into this world? Not the Jews. Ants. Ants. You know what ants do all day long? They save. A little ant needs how much food? Just a little bit. Are they content with a little bit? No. All day long, if you fall on an ant, what do? They're collecting food. They're saving food. They're saving food. So when God wanted to inject the consciousness of saving into the physical world, he used ants. When God wanted to physically manifest the consciousness of selfishness, he put it into the ram. You know, Rabbi Berg, my master, once said, when I read this in the Zohar, in the book of formation, I couldn't believe it. How could ram be the most selfish person, most selfish animal in the world? So he went to the zoo. He said, I went to the zoo to see what they were so selfish. And he goes in front of the zoo, and there are some rams. You know, they're naive, they're nice, they're just playing with each other. No big deal. And he waits, and he's absorbing them, and all of a sudden they bring their food. They bring one portion of the food, and all these animals, instead of going and eat their own food, they start fighting each other, make sure the other ram doesn't eat the food. Then he says, now I know why ram is the most selfish one. So ram represents the energy of selfishness, some aspect of ego. And when we say the god of Egyptian was the ram, what do we say about the Egyptian? Egypt means what?
Darkness.
Darkness. The darkness that rules by selfishness is the ram. That's why their god was the ram. And you know what we're supposed to do in the first day of Passover? In the first day of the month of Nisan before Passover? You know what says in the Torah? Something really, really freaky. If you study the Torah, if you study the Bible, it says that every Jew, in each family, every Jew, not just the head of the family, every Jew has to go take a ram for herself or himself, bring it home, tie the ram to his bedpost for 10 days, and observe it. And on the 10th day, you should slaughter the ram, slaughter it, and burn it to the ashes. That's the Torah. That's the literal meaning of what the Torah recommends, that what we should do in the first day of Passover until the 10th day of the Passover. So what are we talking Kabbalistically? It means that every one of us, when the month of Passover comes, I have to look into myself, look into my selfishness, tie it to my bedpost. So every night that I go to bed, I look at myself and I go, where was my selfishness today? Where was my ego today? How did I look at myself today? Where did I put myself first? For 10 days. Because, as I said, each month, when the month starts growing up, the level of that energy of that month grows. So the first day of the month of Nisan versus the second day, there is more energy on the second day. So every day, I'm supposed to look at myself more and more until the 10th day, the 10th Sefirot. On the 10th day of the Sefirot, when the energy is getting really, really strong, then on the 10th day, I have to slaughter that aspect of my consciousness, that selfishness that resides in my consciousness, and burn it. Burn it. When you burn something, you leave nothing behind, right? It becomes ashes, becomes nothing. That's what the Torah is talking about on Passover. And what do we do on Passover? What do we eat on Passover? Masa. What is masa? Unleavened bread. A bread that doesn't have any ego. So Passover is all about controlling our ego. That's how you break through from darkness. Every darkness that you experience in your life, it comes from your ego. Every darkness that you experience, every challenge that you get stuck, it's because of your ego. It's because of your selfishness. We say the internal energy of an Aries is water. The outside is fire. How could you bring balance into fire and water? They're totally opposite of each other. That's the dilemma of an Aries. Aries wants everything. Aries has the biggest desire of all signs. They want everything. They want power, they want position, they want money, they want honor. They want it all. They want it all. That's their fire sign. That's how they live their life. They want it all. They want honor, they want respect, they want everything. But then on the other hand, they have the water inside of them, which is giving, sharing. But that giving and sharing, as I explained to you, has a condition to it. What about me? What is what about me? It's my ego. I'm supposed to share without any expectation. When I share, and I love it that I have the power to share, that should satisfy me right there. If you have $1 in your pocket and somebody comes and tells you, give me $1, and you give them the $1, the moment that you have that $1 and you give, that should be the fulfillment. That's it. Nothing in return. When you want something in return, you're limiting it. You're limiting it. When I want something in return, who wants something in return? You think your neshama wants something in return? No, it's your body. It's the ego. When you want somebody to give you respect, you think your neshama wants the respect? Neshama wants to be as humble as Moshe Rabbeinu. Who wants the respect? Who gets annoyed? The ego. So this duality between the sharing and the desire of the Aries is the biggest problem for the Aries. It's the biggest problem for the Aries. There is nothing wrong with the notion of wanting things. You should want everything. You should strive for the best life possible. You should strive for the best position. You should strive for the best relationship. You should strive for the best position you can get. You deserve it. You should have it. Don't back off from it. Go for the best. Want the best house, you should want the best degree, you should have the best school, you should have the best money, you should have the best husband, you should have the best wife. You should want everything. And Kabbalist wants everything. But for what purpose? What's the reason behind me wanting to be the best of everything that I want to be the best? So I can share. So I can give. So I can be like the gods. Not for my physical body, not for my ego. I want it for my soul. I want to be the best doctor because I want to be the best healer in the world. I want to be the best engineer because I want to create the best buildings in the world. I want to be the best teacher because I want to share this knowledge. Not because at the end of the class you guys come and tell me, oh, what a great teacher you are. A Kabbalist doesn't want compliment. Compliment kills. Compliment, it's a fuel for ego. There is nothing wrong with receiving compliment, but then where should one inject that compliment to? To the soul or to the ego? To the soul. So the power of Aries is amazing. They want everything. They have the fire to grasp it. Why do they argue to win? Because they want it. They want the capture of that moment. They want to capture. They want to inject the opinion, which is wonderful. They have probably the best opinion in the world. They have the best solution in the world. And they can only have fulfillment if they bring balance into that. And Aries becomes totally happy when they put themselves in a position to listen to other people. Listen to other ideas. Be open. Be open. The planet of Mars, the planet of war, is not to go to war against other people. It's to go to war against my own stupid ego. I have to use the power of Mars to overcome my selfishness. That's the source of my problem. Every time we get hurt, it's because of our ego. Every time we get disappointed, it's an ego. We all supposed to fall. We all supposed to get up. When I fall and I'm depressed and I'm sad and I don't like myself, which part of me is sad? It's my ego. The only way to go up is to go down. There is no other way. So challenges has to happen. Challenges has to happen. The falling, they say the light is into the falling. The light is into the falling. When you are falling, when you are making a mistake, that's where the light is. And you know who's going down with you? The light force of God is going down with you. And He actually waits for you at the bottom of the pile, and He's hoping that you go up, go back again. We need Aries. We need their power. We need their strength. And what's so amazing is, what this concept that we talk about, it's not just for the Aries alone. We all have that. We all have aspects of Aries in our life, because the planet Mars is in our galaxy. It not only affects the Aries, it affects every sign. We all have it. Maybe not as much as Aries, but we all have it. So Aries needs to bring balance into receiving and into giving. Aries has the power to give. Do it unconditionally. Don't destroy your giving for the sake of your ego. Give without any expectation. Give without the concept, the notion of recognition and honor. That's not where the honor is. Bring the balance between giving and receiving. And the people who deal with Aries, if you cannot handle an Aries, you know which part of you cannot handle an Aries? Your ego. Your ego cannot handle an Aries. You should listen to an Aries. Who wants to argue with an Aries? Only my ego wants to argue with an Aries, right? Only the ego wants to argue with Aries. I give time for question. And then we said, giving love. Aries needs to feel loved. Give love to Aries. Believe me, the more you give love, the more you give love to an Aries, the more
You get that.
you get back from an Aries. The better relationship. The best relationship with Aries is when you give love, when you have patience, when you listen to them, when you don't argue with them. You understand this force is necessary in my life. And I have to deal with it. That part of me that does not like Aries is my ego. It's not my soul. Thank you. Now questions.